What if the only thing standing between the impossible and the inevitable is the speed of your learning loop? That's the provocation at the heart of Walter Isaacson's Elon Musk, a portrait of an obsessive builder who treats rockets, cars, factories, and even social networks as problems of physics, iteration, and nerve. Today, we'll distill the book into a smooth, actionable journey. Who Musk is, how he decides, why his companies bend cost curves, and what you can actually apply without burning out your team or yourself. Elon Musk's origin story begins in South Africa, where brilliance and bruises arrived together. He devoured science fiction, taught himself to code, and endured bullying at school and turmoil at home. That mix, deep imagination fused with a hardened tolerance for pain, set his lifelong operating mode. Pick the hardest, most consequential problem, then attack it at extreme intensity. When he moves to North America, the direction is clear. Software first, then the physical world. At Zip2 and later X.com, which merged into PayPal, Musk reveals a pattern you'll see again and again. Act bluntly, cut anything that doesn't create value, and compress the time between idea and test. The approach sparks conflict. He's abrasive and relentless, but it also yields progress. Selling PayPal gives him capital, and more importantly, a belief that speed and first principles reasoning can now be aimed at atoms, not just bits. Enter SpaceX. The naive question that unlocks everything is simple. Why are rockets so expensive? Instead of accepting industry law, Musk breaks the problem into materials, engines, structures, and manufacturing flow. SpaceX decides to make rather than buy, to learn by blowing things up, and to treat every failure as a data set. The guiding philosophy is design for manufacturing. Don't perfect drawings in isolation, co-design them with the factory so the object can be built quickly, cheaply, and repeatedly improved. After painful early explosions, Falcon 1 finally reaches orbit. Falcon 9 follows, then the audacious goal of landing boosters for reuse. What the industry called impossible becomes routine, because one variable was maximized: iteration speed. That same playbook drives Tesla. Musk bets that electric will win if three constraints fall: battery economics, driving experience, and charging convenience. Start high-end to build desire and margins. Roadster, Model S. Then expand to mass market, Model 3, Model Y. Crucially, Tesla integrates vertically, from battery packs and power electronics to software updated over the air, so the entire system evolves as one. When factories jam, Musk just doesn't stay in the boardroom, he sleeps on the line, rips out machines that add complexity, and redraws flow like a programmer refactors code. His mantra could be summarized in 2 rules: remove until it breaks, then add back the last thing, and shrink the time of each build, test, fix loop. Through that lens, a factory is a product, not a place. And the pace at which it improves is itself a competitive moat. Energy is the 3rd pillar. Solar generation, grid-scale storage, and smart consumption form a system where each node amplifies the others. Solar creates clean supply. Powerwall and Megapack shift it in time, and vehicles consume it efficiently. When you think like a systems architect, products stop being silos and start becoming edges in a network of value. The more edges you own and coordinate, the more you can lower cost and raise reliability for the whole. Neuralink exposes another obsession: bandwidth. If AI accelerates, Musk worries that the human brain's output channel, speech and typing, is a bottleneck, a brain-machine interface. Despite massive technical and ethical hurdles, is his attempt to widen that pipe. You can agree or disagree with the bet, but the pattern remains. Find the constraint and attack it, even if the road is risky and long. Then there's Twitter, now X. The acquisition turns the world's town square into a stress test of Musk's operating style in public. He slashes staff, collapses approvals, and ships openly. The aim? Strip costs, increase feature velocity, and push toward a super app that blends media and finance. The result is chaotic. Some features flop, controversies erupt, but the through line is familiar. Remove layers, force decisions into the present tense, and let real usage be the judge. It's the same instrument played at deafening volume. All of this raises the central tension of the book. Musk's leadership creates breakthrough outcomes and human fallout. He sets impossible deadlines, asks questions instead of giving answers, and pushes teams into wartime mode. For some, it's galvanizing. For others, it's exhausting. Isaacson doesn't sanitize this. He shows the genius at simplifying to first principles, alongside the insensitivity that treats feelings as noise when they slow execution. Musk optimizes for the mission, not comfort. That focus moves industries and leaves scorch marks. So what are the transferable lessons if you're building something, leading a team, or simply designing your own workflow? First, choose problems that matter at the system level. Don't paint the front door, redesign the house. SpaceX didn't haggle for cheaper rockets. It reinvented how rockets are made and used. Tesla didn't just make an electric car, it re-architected the stack and the factory. When you pull the true levers, architecture, integration, unit economics, you bend the curve, not just the headline. Second, design for manufacturing and operations from day one. A clean CAD model is worthless if it can't be assembled fast. Treat tolerances, parts count, and assembly steps like costs in a spreadsheet. Remove a component. If the system still works, you've gained speed and reliability. Keep doing this until it breaks, then add back the last thing. This sounds simple. It's culture-changing when applied. Third, shorten your learning loop. Don't ask, how do we move faster? Ask, how do we make the loop shorter? Build smaller, testable increments, measure brutally, change quickly. The team that completes the most loops wins because they compound learning. At SpaceX, landing a booster wasn't one leap. It was hundreds of tight loops stacked over time. Fourth, integrate vertically where it unlocks speed or quality. Owning more of the stack is expensive and hard, but it lets you tune the orchestra instead of shouting at suppliers. SpaceX makes engines. Tesla designs chips and writes the software. You can't do this everywhere, but in the few leverage points that define your product's experience or cost, integration lets you pull big handles. Fifth, architect your products as a system. Visualize how each part feeds the others. Energy generation, storage and consumption, hardware, software and factory, user interface, data and monetization. When you design the graph, improvements propagate across edges. That's how incremental wins become strategic advantage. The book also highlights Musk's flaws without flinching. Impulsive tweets, public missteps, and brutal calls have real costs, yet even critics concede the impact. Reusable rockets, mainstream EVs, and a jump-started battery industry. The deeper insight, is less about a single man and more about an operating doctrine. Assume constraints are negotiable until proven otherwise, and let reality, not hierarchy, render the verdict. If you're a product manager, founder, or operator, translate this into a practical checklist. Choose a problem that moves the needle. Map the system and identify the 2 or 3 nodes where integration or redesign will change economics. Remove complexity until something breaks. Add back the minimum. Instrument everything. Measure daily. Ship small changes often. Build your factory, literal or metaphorical, as a product that improves every week. And codify the culture so speed doesn't become sloppiness. Decision logs, rollback plans, and a norm that the best argument wins. Zooming out, Elon Musk is really about the power and price of intensity. It asks whether audacious goals plus compounding loops can drag the future forward, and what collateral damage we're willing to accept to get there. You don't have to choose his trade-offs to learn from his methods. You can keep the rigor and ditch the recklessness. You can run tight loops inside humane bounds. So here's the takeaway that ties the story back to you. Progress isn't magic, it's architecture plus iteration. Pick the right problem, design the system, and then cycle faster than your competitors can comprehend. If you do that, calmly, ethically, and relentlessly, you don't need to be Elon Musk to achieve Elon-sized outcomes. You just need to master the loop.